All right. I'd like to show you this map here because the next region that we're going to be looking at is the Canadian Shield. And the Canadian Shield actually wraps around the Hudson Bay. This is the Hudson Bay right here, uh, very far north in Canada. And the Canadian Shield actually goes around it. It touches a little bit here in America, but I needed to show you this map because there's really, that doesn't show you here on this map. So, but the Canadian Shield does come down to this area, does touch in like Minnesota, Wisconsin, and it's basically formed by glaciers. And glaciers are very important in how our country is formed. It carved out many lakes. Basically, the ice comes in and either moves rocks or digs into the ground itself, and then when the glaciers melt, it fills it in with water. And this is how we get the great, lakes like the Great Lakes, and there's lots of little lakes. In fact, this is called the land of 10,000 lakes. And so we have this area that's worn by erosion. Those glaciers came in and basically pushed around all these rocks and gouged the land. So much so that I like to tell the story about Long Island. Long Island is this island that juts out from New York. Uh, it goes out into the Atlantic Ocean, and the bottom part, the southern part of Long Island, looks like any other beach that you go to, like Virginia Beach or Myrtle Beach. But if you go to the North Shore, you'll notice that it's just full of rocks, and there's big boulders. It almost looks like the beaches out in the coastal range. And it's very strange, but basically, one of the glaciers came down to this area and stopped and basically formed Long Island. And you could see the difference if you ever visit it and compare the two shores. Go to a beach on the southern shore and go to a beach on the northern shore, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Anyway, the Canadian Shield it has to do with glaciers. It's way up north. It barely touches America, and it wraps around the Hudson Bay like a horseshoe. A couple key words that you should put on there onto your sheet are erosion and glaciers. And you can see a picture of this right here. These boulders, these sometimes they're as big as buses and or cars, and they were pushed around by these glaciers. Amazing natural phenomenon. It's pretty barren. It's very hard to grow things here. It does make many lakes, as you can see. It carved up the land quite a bit. Called cute little polar bears. Actually, they're big, ferocious things. Don't go near them. And very cold winters. It's very difficult to live up here. One thing I do want to note is when we go into the waterways, we are going to talk about, and then in colonization, just how important these Great Lakes are. History will be very different if these things did not exist.